Okay, ladies, so welcome back. We are now continuing with some examples of submissions by students. So let's have a look at those. Here's the first example. It's a writing submission from a 101 final exam, and this is a general track student. She was asked to write a paragraph about the last time that she ate at a restaurant. She was given a checklist of questions to address in her writing. She was asked to write between 50 to 100 words, and this is the submission that she has given. So she writes in this part below. All right, so let's go through this bit by bit. We're going to have a look at our first yes-no categories, our defining categories. So impact and appropriacy and task achieve. Did the learner include relevant content, meaningful register about the topic? So what is the topic of our writing? Anything to do with restaurants and eating. And she certainly has addressed that in her submission. She talks about the restaurant, the name of the restaurant, who she went with, what they ordered, and what she liked about the food. So she certainly mentions all of that. She also talks about cooking food and what she likes about cooking food. So all of that is sort of related in somewhat to the idea of food, restaurant, and eating. So she's certainly on topic. Is all the content fully on topic and relevant? Yes, I believe so. And the writing is clearly developed in the appropriate register. Some may disagree. Some may believe that that small addition at the end of her writing, where she refers to the cooking, might mean that it's not all on topic, but mostly on topic. People will differ on that. If you do make a note to give her a 0.75 here, then we need to make sure that you've argued your point and you've argued it clearly. So for me, I would give this student a 0.75 because it's generally well developed in the appropriate register, but the cooking part is a little bit slightly off topic. It's not that it's completely off topic, it's slightly off topic. So 3/3 of that writing is massively and perfectly on the topic of restaurants and eating. Okay. We don't need to look at this section because this one addresses partial topic, but it doesn't. We see from the reading that that's not the case. Okay, the next thing that we need to look at is task achieve. So did the learner fully complete the task? Did she meet the word count or exceeded? Did she address all the writing instructions fully and the prompts, and were they all successfully done? Or did she meet the word count by about 75% and the writing instructions and prompts are mostly answered but not fully? Okay, so the task is generally completed. Remember, we're trying to just remind ourselves of what those terms mean. So task achieve is the appropriate instructional match between the student's writing and the writing task being asked of them. So we're keeping an eye on the word count, the writing instruction, and the writing prompt, and to see if that writing addresses those three elements in any shape or form, however minimal. All right. So again, task achieved. Did the learner fully complete the task? Her word count is actually 100, so yes, her word count is on point. We can see that she's got a paragraph structure there, so we can see the topic sentence where she mentions the name of the restaurant. And she also gives supporting details. She talks about the food ordered and who went with her when that was happening. And she also concludes it by saying how good the food was. So the prompts were answered by addressing each of those sub-questions. Let's see if we can grade it. And I think for me, the word count was met or exceeded. And for me, at this point, the task achieve is a full grade 1 because she answered them fully, successfully, and completed. So for impact and appropriacy, I will give a 0.75, and for task achieve, she will get a 1. Now that we have decided that we will proceed with marking this writing, because we've got a yes for impact and appropriacy and a yes for task achieve, we will move on to the rest of the categories. So we'll start off with organisation and cohesion. Did the learner express her ideas clearly and connect them effectively? So let's look at these two categories. Content fully connects the writing in a logical sequence that exhibits skillful use of transitional words and phrases. I didn't feel that I read skillful use there. Mostly, it's in a logical sequence and exhibits good use of transitional words, or the content is partially in sequence and the writing is unclear and there is an unclear use of transitional words or phrases and ideas. We're also going to check for the grammar. Did the learner use a good range of grammar structure, punctuation markers, and capitalization accurately? I didn't feel that that was the case. So for me, immediately, a 1 band is not an option here. The content does not fully demonstrate few errors and punctuation errors here. And we are going to have a look at that writing again. Okay, so we can see those coming through. At times, difficult to really get the meaning of what she's trying to say. Okay, so let's now go back. Is it partially is it partially done? Is 50% of the writing submitted shows good use of grammar, punctuation, and capitalization taught at this level, which is general track? Or do we see something more? We're also going to look at the vocabulary and spelling. So did the learner use a good range of vocab items and spell them correctly? Again, we're going to focus on these two categories for me. As I said, band 1 is skillful use, so I immediately eliminated that. But we can look at this partial submission category here, where she uses the vocabulary taught, but there is consistent errors, and we can certainly see that in the writing, that those errors are persistent through the content that she submitted. And the spelling is inadequate with errors, very simple spellings such as the word orange and so on, and fish and so forth are not spelled correctly. Okay, so for me, this lady gets a total of 4.25. Let's look at how we broke down those grades. So for organisation and cohesion, she got a 0.75. For grammar and mechanics, a 0.5, and vocab and spelling, a 0.5 for me there. And that totals it up to 4.25 for that writing.